Hey friend, Roger Christofferson here again with another Overlooked Gems. And I just love babbling about music and bands and just like going on and on and on. So if you enjoy listening to that, then this is the channel for you, because I'm talking about XYZ today and their debut album on Enigma Records. I know how I found this band. It was because of Dokken. He produced this first one. And it's funny because I was just talking about another band, the band Mass. They ended up sounding like the person who produced it, which was Michael Sweet on that one. This band, they sound very similar to Dokken in their style and the singing and all that stuff. Although the lead singer, Terry, I don't know if I say this right, Lewis, they're French, so you can hear the accent in his singing, which is totally cool. It doesn't like sound weird at all. It doesn't like turn me off in any way, shape, or form. But if it wasn't for that, he would sound, I think, a lot back, at least back in this time frame. Don produced it a lot like a Dokken album would sound. It's just kind of weird how that happens sometimes. But anyway, I think they're a band, like one of these bands that stood like above, the rest. I forget what year this came out. I probably read it on here, because yes, I have this one on cassette as well. I have so many albums on cassette. It came out in '89, so I just remember like getting this album and listening to it over and over and over again. I know it was because of Don Dokken that I got this album. The guitarist on this one is Mark Richard Diglio. I'm going to kill these. Pat Fontaine on bass and Paul Monroe. So it was like they're a French band. They came over and somehow got signed to Enigma, ended up hooking up with Don Dokken somehow. Don't know the whole backstory there. I'm sure if I dug into it, that would be a cool story, but did not dig into it that far. They did end up making a couple more albums. I remember when they came out with their second album, Hungry, which was like a couple years after this. Me and the bass player who actually is the drummer who's actually in the band with me now was like, I was the bass player in another band like way back in the day, and he was a drummer in that band as well. And I remember he got the album Hungry, and we just went up to our practice room and we sat there and just listened to the whole album straight through. Just sat there listening through it. Went back and like backed up and listened to a couple songs on that one. So I'm sure he would pick that as his overlooked gem. However, this is the one that did it for me. I believe they had a single out called Inside Out, if I remember right. That was the single at the time, which was a cool lead-off single. But the rest of the songs on here, I just thought were even better than that. So if you saw that song on MTV like way back in the day and that's the only thing you ever heard, the rest of the album's better, so you missed out. You should go check it out. There's actually a song on here called Souvenirs that we ended up doing, the band that I was in back then. And it was funny because our singer that we had at that point in time couldn't hit the high note at the end of it, so I used to sing it. And I'm not a singer, but I just remember that because it was funny to just hit that note and just like steal the show for about 2 seconds. And it's just funny that we used to do that. And nobody knew who this band was back then, or that song. I don't even think that was released as a single. So it was one of those ones that people thought either they knew this band and they thought it was cool that we were doing it, or they thought it was our own song. So it was like win-win. I've said that before a couple times, but we used to do that. I'd forgotten about that. So it's funny listening back and looking through the stuff, the memories that it brings back. But in this particular album, there's the opening track, Maggie. Weird song title. It's like a weird name, I would think, for a song for a girl's name to have a song named after, but it works. It's killer. It's actually a hard rocking song too. It's the opening track. That one's killer. There's another ballad on here which was earlier in the album, What Keeps Me Loving You, which is good, but Souvenirs for me was the killer ballad on here. And Take What You Can. Oh yeah, that was. I don't know if that's the heaviest song on here, but that one actually is probably my favorite song on the whole album. Take What You Can. I think they had an EP or something out after that, maybe a live EP that was named that. These guys didn't do a whole lot. They're still out there now. I guess they got back together in the early 2000s, but there was an album that they released early 2000, which doesn't like bring. I couldn't name a single song. I haven't listened to it since it came out, so it probably didn't do much for me. I know there's like a demos thing out there. Actually, yeah, it was Take What You Can was the live album. Actually, I just go look it up real quick here. Even though I have the cassette jacket in my hand, I'm typing stuff in the internet, which I could have probably just done to start with and save myself a lot of eye strain. But you know what? I just think it's more authentic if you hear me just flicking through the, the jacket here, I guess. I don't know. But anyway, those songs for me were the, oh, it ends with After the Rain. That was a killer song, too. Oh, yeah. Come On, Love Me. That's another good. There's actually a lot of good songs. Like I said, there's no clunkers on this one. Even the weak songs are not clunkers. The weak songs on this album are better than the songs that half the bands at this point in time were putting out. So it's worth checking out, is what I'm trying to say. XYZ, not the most original band name in the world, but it's surprising that nobody had come up with it until this point, which is really odd. But anyway, that aside, like, share, and subscribe to keep this music alive. As always, comment down below anything else you think we should check out. Terry Lewis. Oh, man, sorry about that. Just want to throw in there really quick. I almost ended it without saying this, but he sang in Great White for a while and did a couple albums with them. So you might want to check that out as well. And I just saw him on YouTube with George Lynch doing some concert thing too. So he's been out there. There's a couple things he's done on Frontiers Records as well. So he's got a lot of stuff out there he's done in the meantime as far as like albums and releases. And you know, he's worth checking out. And if you like his singing, I love his singing. I think it's great. There's a lot of stuff out there with him singing on other than this. So if you, unfortunately, the guitar player, I don't know what else the guitar player's done, but he was a killer, you know, player on this album. So anyway, if you guys know of anything else that we should check out with either one of those two on it or whatever, as always, share down, you know, below. And until next time, we'll see you.